most people don't agree with that mindset, but I do think it's a really practical mindset, and it's a better way to take things so that you're finishing things and you're not running off emotions, and you're not stopping what you're doing because now you have this emotional flare that has happened and you need to attend to that.
What's up, world, and welcome to another episode of the Super Investor Show. Now, crypto isn't for everyone. And I say that because as much as we believe everyone can invest, not everyone has the tools and the access to do so. However, my guest today, we have a woman who is making money move easily and more accessible across borders. Today, we have Grace, the Regional Director of Operations Africa, Leaf at IDT. This woman is someone which offline, I really just want the conversation to keep going and picking her brain and finding out how she's making money. That's the key thing, right? Not everyone needs to invest in crypto to experience it. How is she making money move easier across borders? And more importantly, who are the people that need that support the most? So without further ado, please join me in giving a warm round of applause whilst you're sat at home to Grace from Leaf at IDT. Grace, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Beautiful, beautiful. And first and foremost, you don't have a British accent like me. Where are you from right now?
Oh, so I'm based in Nairobi, Kenya. I grew up in Nairobi, Kenya, but the reason why I learned how to speak like this is my mom was taught by British teachers who taught her how to speak like this, and she enforced that all her children need to know how to pronounce the words correctly. Like, you do not say with a flat accent, you have to pronounce it correctly. So this was my life growing up until I moved out of her house at around 25. So yeah.
Beautiful. And I say you don't have the accent, but yeah, you do speak the Queen's English, which for the American listeners are probably cursing us right now.
You have to pronounce the Queen's language properly.
That's right. If you're going to speak English, speak it right.
What is a sidewalk? The word is pavement. Okay.
Grace, most of my listeners are American. They've switched off already. Let's try and win them back, Grace. How would you define yourself?
That's a very interesting question. I would define myself as a thinker, a young person who's willing to pivot, and an impact in my society, because as you said, you were 25 years young. I am 30 years young, and I am causing an impact for many young women who want to grow in their careers. So I would consider myself like a mover and a shaker in society. Yeah. Like breaking glass barriers. Yeah.
And from your recent memory, what would you say has been your biggest win as a mover and shaker?
Oh, yes, I do know. So before I did join Leaf and IDT, I worked at a UK-based payments processing company, and I got a chance to work with both Visa and M-Pesa. I'm not so sure if you're familiar with M-Pesa. They're a mobile money transfer platform that started in Kenya and now is in about 9 markets. So I worked with them for their biggest market, which is Kenya, that's Safaricom, to launch a virtual card, the first of its kind in Kenya, sorry. So I did work with them, and then I worked with the wider M-Pesa team to replicate that across Africa. And now the solutions that I put in place in the roadmap are now being implemented. So that's just something big that I can say that I have achieved this past year. Yeah.
That's definitely a proud achievement, knowing that the work you've done, you've had an impact on lives even since you've left, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so, as you may be aware, I bring super investors like yourself on, so people at home don't have to learn from their own mistakes, they can learn from yours. But I want to learn from potentially one of your superpowers. So, as a
Mhm.
super investor, Grace, what would you say your
Mm.
superpower is?
Hmm. I think one thing that I consider a superpower, and I've come to learn and appreciate it, is that I'm a bit of an empath. So
Hmm.
I feel my feelings and I feel everything. And I have learned how to translate that into business where I am able to understand the client, where they're coming from, understand their customer, how what it is that they're trying to achieve in the market, and then stepping into their shoes and seeing what it is that they're seeing, and now
Mm,
providing the tools in a way that I'm not selling a product, I'm actually providing a service that can transform their lives. And how and that level of empathy has been able to help me even in developing different markets and understanding how this market works, understanding the difference between one region and another. What will this region take? When I'm able to step into a client's or even an end users, like for
mm,
instance, like where we are right now with the Leaf, we do a lot of remittance through blockchain technology. I'm able to step into the customer's feet, into the customer's shoe, sorry, and understand what it is that they want to achieve, what is the persona of this customer, how does their day-to-day looks like, how what it is that they're trying to achieve. And once I'm able to translate that, I can put it in a strategy and be able to implement it into the market such that now it makes sense, it becomes a way of life for each of the users. And I think that's the best power that I have in my field.
remarkable. And I know you're not a
Mm,
marketer by maybe trade or definition,
mm,
but as a marketer myself, we're always forced to
mm,
understand our customers' problems and pains, right? And put ourselves into their
mhm,
shoes, especially because you're
mhm,
solving a problem. What processes do you go through? I know it's natural being an
mhm,
empath, but what process do
mhm,
you go through to understand your customers' problems?
mhm. So first things first, I listen to what the problem is. Like, what are the things that we're talking about? Maybe when we sit in a sprint as a team internally, what are the issues that the customers are raising? And then I once we identify the issue, we're able to, okay, so what do we aspire that this challenge look like? Instead of it looking like what it looks like right now, what do we aspire that it looks like for the customer at this particular point? And then once we're able to look at the end picture, so we are able to see the problem and then see what it is that we want it to look like, we find that journey in the middle, in the center. What are the things that we need to change? Okay, this is the problem that's happening. This is why it's happening. And then what we need to change. It's sort of like a SWOT analysis. I look at the strengths that what we're bringing into the market. What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities that are available? What can we essentially tap into to improve our service? Does it mean that we collaborate with other people? Like personally, I believe that the future of great investments and great businesses is it comes in collaboration. You can't do everything by yourself. You need other people to come in, provide their services, and help you grow. So, can I look at what opportunities lie around me? Will it take too much time for me to build it? What's the quickness that I need to get into the market with this? Because one thing that I came to really see is that customers have an array of people who provide the same services as you. The reason why they stay with you is because of your ease to market, your quickness in response. You have a cool user experience. You don't need too many things from me. You don't need an ID, the certificate, this, that. No, you're very quick and the process is fast. It's efficient. That's what customers are looking at. Once I'm able to build out that journey, then my aspiration of what it looks like makes sense. And now we are able to build out a plan and build out prototypes with whether it means changing how our user interface looks like. If I stand in the customer's shoes and I get into an app, what it is that I want to see? What is the journey supposed to look like? How much time should I essentially spend here? If you take more than 10 seconds to respond to remittance, like I want to move money from Kenya to maybe to Nigeria, and you take more than 10 seconds, we're going to lose that customer. So how can I build a platform that enhances that and increases that speed? So that's entirely my thinking around it.
Incredible process. And thank you for digesting that into a few minutes, because I know
Mm.
that process will take a few minutes. And
Yeah.
if you don't mind me going even deeper in that. So you
Mhm.
identify, actually, yeah, I'll throw it to you. So do you try to identify one challenge and one problem alone as a team? And you say, we're going to spend 90 days addressing this challenge? Or do you go about it another process?
So, what I do, there's a tool called Mural that I love to use, and it allows me to put sticky notes. I'm the type of person who will draw on a board, just write it down. I create like one board has challenges, list all the problems that we have. Tell me all the problems that we have. So we list up every problem that we have, list it all up, whether they're 30, 10, 5, 50, whatever. All those problems, let's list them down and let's be as honest as possible. There's no wrong answer here. Nobody's gonna get fired. Say everything as is. Tell me what is going wrong.
Yeah.
And then as we look at that, we now look at, okay, so I do collaboration a lot. I usually don't want to be the one to come up with the answers myself. And then I ask the team again, what do we
Really
aspire them
quickly,
to look
Grace, so to
like?
jump in, is there a reason why
Hmm.
you don't want to come up with the solution yourself?
I'm not the most clever person in the room, and I accept that. I I really do. I don't think that one person will have the answer alone. I believe that
Mm,
my perspective may be great, but another person's could enhance to mine and make it better.
yeah,
So at the end of the day, it's creating a solution that is great for the customer. It's not about me. It's
not about being
about
right.
we. Exactly. I don't need to be right all the time. And if I'm wrong, tell me that I'm wrong. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for letting me jump in. So
Mhm.
you were saying, so you throw it to the
Yeah.
team, find a solution after listing all the
Yeah.
challenges.
We list all the challenges, and then now we start looking at, does that mean that our product has to change? What is the customer experience and what's the technical? Those are the three things that I technically look at.
Gotcha.
Let's look at customer experience. What does a customer expect? That's looking at the messaging that goes out, the in-app notifications, the updates, what even the social media posts, what are we doing that is right? And what can we do to enhance some of those challenges?
Yeah.
And then we look at the product itself. So that's the UI UX interface. Does this need to change? This where this is placed correct in the app. Can this particularly change? And then now we look at the technical. Does what I want to achieve in product make sense? And if it doesn't,
Mm.
what can we do to make it kind of make sense or make it close to making sense? What solutions are you giving me? What are the timelines to implement that? If your timelines are too long, can we identify a partner that can be able to bring out that solution that we're looking for? So that's usually my entire process. And I love to work with teams. I love to work across teams. I was not always like this because I used to think that, especially, I think it's group work when I was in university that kind of messed me up at some
Oh,
point because
everyone did.
people don't really, people just don't collaborate well. But I think it's different when you hit the workforce and
Yeah.
empowering your team to come up with solutions themselves such that they own it. Because if they own it, then they can run with it so that
Mm,
I'm not pushing. I don't want to be the boss that tells you you're supposed to do this. No, no, no. But if you own it, then you can run with it. Yeah.
definitely.
Mm,
That hopefully will hit home for a lot of people, whether they're doing it right or potentially
mm,
doing it another way, right? To reconsider that.
mhm.
Because it's hard
Yeah.
to put aside being right in terms of yourself being right to doing the right thing. And there is a difference there. And sounds like you're working with
Mhm,
some incredible people who aren't scared of you
mhm,
in the nicest sense, Grace, but also trust and respect you.
mm. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and so that's incredible. And how often will you do that process? You know, that SWOT analysis of your customers' challenges.
How do I do the SWOT analysis?
How often? How often? Is it once a quarter? Once a year?
It's actually about twice a year.
Okay.
So our fiscal year is in July. So I I've been working on just a model, essentially like what it is that I want to run with. And then now I have like the I'll call it like a team building for me and the team, where we will meet in a specific location because we all work remotely. So have everybody fly into a specific location and we spend like a week and we map out what it is that we want to do. I have the strategy that I have in mind,
Yeah.
but now how can we enhance it? So I'm usually very open to correction, whether it's from somebody who's junior or somebody who's senior than me. Somebody I don't really mind, because I believe that if I allow for that room for you to speak up, then I'm essentially also helping you build out your own career. And if
Mm,
you're able to speak out on things, then that means that you can try other things. I don't really believe in staying in one place for too long. Like if you can grow out of it, then grow out of it. So we do it twice a year. So that's going to be like earlier in the year, that's Q1, and then now later in the year, where now we look at whether some of the things that we did say that we were going to do, how does that look like? How are we enhancing it? Yeah.
and
Mm.
the key word you used was, can we grow out of it? And I think
Mhm.
wording is so powerful, right? Phrases, because I know
Mm.
maybe you did that on accident, but subconsciously, that's
Mhm.
beautiful because it's not about getting rid of the old. It's how can we evolve? Which,
Exactly.
again, as a marketer, your company's called Leaf. You know, your terminology
Mhm.
speaks to me, so I can really appreciate that. I had
Mm.
one other key point on this process, which I found fascinating, and I never knew we'd go down this journey, but I'm glad we're here.
Mhm.
Which, as you mentioned, you do it in person. Now, we said offline that both of us have been working
Mhm.
remotely for 3 years. Assumably,
Mhm.
we've had fantastic success. However,
Mhm.
I don't know if I heard correctly. You meet up in person to do this challenge SWOT analysis.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, that's now recent. Like this year and now next year is now when we're starting to do more of in-person things.
Good.
I just find there's beauty in that human element, because I can read your expressions. I can read your body language. I can actually read you and I can feel your vibe. I can feel the energy that you're bringing into the room. I can actually see that because I feel like we communicate more through our body and our facial expressions than we do through our words, because your
Yeah.
words can say one thing but your body's telling me one thing. So I can actually see that whether I'm talking a lot of nonsense and you're not saying that, and then I'll be able to point it out. What do you think? Like, yeah, exactly.
I'm going to take that away as well because I'm about to work with a new team
Mm-hmm.
myself, and coming
Mm-hmm.
in as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
And they live in Wales. Are you familiar with the UK?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I live in
Quite,
Cambridge.
yeah.
Excellent. So
Mm-hmm.
the UK is small in comparison, but they live across the country. And for me, I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking to myself, how often do I want to meet the team? Right. And actually,
Mm-hmm.
I think it is imperative that we do meet up to have these important discussions in person. Of course, we
Mm-hmm.
can't avoid having important ones online, but when we
Mm-hmm.
can, have them in person. So thank you for that inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure. Most
Um,
welcome. Yeah.
Now, we're going to make a smooth segue from what the things you're doing well to potentially the things
Mm-hmm.
which you're facing some resistance with. And
Mm-hmm.
normally, when I bring people on the show, they say, look, FOMO, I FOMO into projects. I'm too emotional with projects, which are already you've established as a superpower. So,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say your weakness is as a super investor?
I have uh I have like a daily battle with impatience. Like I it's a daily battle that we face every single. It's like I call myself to a meeting and I tell myself, Grace, you need to calm down, okay? You need to chill out. We're gonna get this done. When it needs to be get when we need to get it done. Because as much as I love to think strategy, big picture, visionary, I
Mm,
step into the customer's shoes. I tend to be quite impatient, and I want things like if I want it done, I want it done today or tomorrow. And I can be, I can, I have to usually stop myself from pressing too hard, and I don't really micromanage people because I hate being micromanaged, but not pushing too hard on the team and putting too much on somebody's plate. So I think that's my biggest weakness, because like there's certain things that we're building right now on our platform and they've taken time. And if we work with the larger parent company IDT, that even takes more time because that's a huge corporate with about 1,000 to 3,000 people, and they don't move at your speed.
No.
Okay. So we may be a new product that was brought in that is small and nice, and we are able to communicate with each other and get things out quickly. But the parent company doesn't get things out when I want them. So now that affects of how will I communicate then this to the customer? When do I want to enhance this and this? It's usually just asks me. And what I usually do when I get to that ball, I go and take a walk. Like I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. No one is gonna die. Let's go and take a walk. Yeah.
That perspective right there, that I know you not to the extreme of no one's going to die. I need to go walk away now. Reminds me of a productivity hack I heard a long while ago, which was when you're doing important work, put your phone on airplane mode. And I remember when I told my partner about this, but what if your uncle passes away, right? And I think it is good to go to that extreme. Okay, let's take the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Family member passes away whilst my phone's on airplane mode. What can I actually do in that moment? Like, if I hear the news 10 minutes later, what's the worst that can happen? Okay, I
Yeah.
called him back in 10 minutes. He's already passed. I'm still going to be able to comfort my family members. And the benefit is the work I was doing gets complete, as
Yeah.
opposed to, and it's going to sound quite dark now that, I don't want a death to interrupt, but the truth of the matter is, for example, this interview right now, if I get a phone call that someone's passed, this interview is pretty much going to stop on the spot.
Exactly.
I'm not saying it's more important, but there's nothing that can change, as opposed to we finish in 9 minutes time, then I can deal with the fire over there. And I see the same mindset that you take with going for a walk. The benefit of taking that walk and the downside is very small. So is that how you look at it, Grace?
Yes, that is how I look at it. And it's something that I've come to learn is it's better that I finish what it is that I needed to do. And if I usually say that somebody has remixed my life, like you put a remix on what it is that I wanted to do. And if you do that,
Yeah.
and so I need to go and take a walk and recalibrate and now have plan B, C, D. But it's sometimes I do think it through. Like I don't think in an ideal situation. I look at, okay, what if I get blocked here? Then that means B needs to take over, then C needs to take over, and then D. And then it continues like that. So I have to think in that perspective. And I do love how you've positioned it that if something was to happen, like if it gets dark and somebody dies right now and you put your phone in airplane mode, like it won't really change. It's better that you finish what you were doing and then go and attend to it.
Yeah.
Because there's really nothing that you can do if you answer the phone right now. Like there's really nothing that you can do. But can I finish what it is that I was doing? And yeah, most people don't agree with that mindset, but I do think it's a really practical mindset, and it's a better way to take things so that you're finishing things and you're not running off emotions and you're not stopping what you're doing because now you have this emotional flare that has happened and you need to attend to that, really. Yeah.
And if we bring a more lighter note to it, is emails. I've been using this tactic for ages now, where I used to have my emails tab open all the time. And I know you as a manager, I'm sure you get a lot of emails, a lot of communication, and a lot of it is urgent and important. I use that loosely. Now I use a strategy where I check my emails at 11 a.m. and I check them again about 4 p.m. And the reason why is because now I've allotted separate time to getting back to those urgent and important matters, as opposed to them constantly task switching. Can you relate maybe in your day-to-day? Do you do anything similar where you purposely block out noise to allow you to focus?
Actually, my calendar is purposely blocked. Like from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. my time, it's literally blocked across. It's always blocked. Don't contact me at that time. Because when I start my day, I wake up in the morning, I will head to the gym, come back, have my breakfast, and I don't check any email at that time. I don't touch my laptop. I don't check anything on my phone. Like I've even switched to the phones. Like there's one work phone and then there's my social phone. Like those two are separate. And then now I have my focus time in my calendar, where I will actually now check what emails do I have, what do I need to respond to, what needs my urgent, immediate concern to it, to look into it,
Yeah.
what do I need to delegate to somebody else, and that I do between 9 and 11. And then after that, then I'll take a break between it because I need my brain to reboot itself so
Yeah.
that we start again. It's not tired, so I need it to reboot. And I will take a 15-minute break, and then now I will come back, and then I'll start working. Like if I'm working on a strategy, or if I need to look at legal documents, if I need to look into hiring, whether I'm having interviews, then I'll schedule that in the middle. Then I'll have my lunch break, and then it gets lighter as the evening goes because I'm more productive in the morning than in the evening. Yeah.
Fascinating. And I have a few more questions about that,
Sure.
selfishly. But I think people at home are going to gain massive value from this, because I know I'm not the only one, which is at the moment, before I join my new team, I'm trying to do just that. I'm trying to not check my emails, check my socials in the morning. And there's studies that show pros and cons, right? If you are receiving good news, then actually you're going to start your day on a good foot. And you're not wrong if you
Yeah.
receive reactive news, bad news,
Yeah.
subjective. Now, of course, your mind is set onto that challenge. I'm finding it particularly hard to just start the morning and not look at my emails or my messages for the same reason. It's that example we gave. What if someone died? Well, actually, if you give it to them 30 more minutes and you go to the gym, you meditate, whatever routine you do,
Yeah.
then you can handle it. My question is, how long have you successfully been doing this routine?
Now it's for about a year.
Wow.
It's actually for about a year. It's throughout
Yeah.
this year, I've at least successfully done that. There are times when I wake up and I'm just like, I'm not going to go to the gym, but I will still sleep in. Like I'll stay an extra hour in the bed. I'll stay in bed and just sleep in. There are times that I do that, but I found that, and I think it was triggered by because most of the time when I would check my emails, it's an urgent thing that I have to attend to right now. Somebody needs this done. This is down. This is down, and I have just woken up. If I wake up with that sense of urgency, that's going to determine how the course of my day is going to go. And I need to be the one who is in control of my body and my reactions and everything. And I'm the type who wakes up kind of slowly. Have you ever met those people who are grouchy in the morning? I'm that person.
Yeah, I've met you now.
Don't talk to me. Just don't talk to me. And my brain is loading like Internet Explorer. It's loading slowly. So I can't, because I understand myself, I can't bring that sense of urgency to myself.
Powerful.
I think that's what really helps me, because I think it comes with stemming and understanding yourself. There are those people who wake up and they're good to go, ready to go. But I had to stop myself because I didn't want to pile up that sense of urgency. So now I'm just constantly running to fix things, and I am not doing and improving things, because I don't want to just be a fixer. I want to improve things. Yeah.
Wow. So many knowledge bombs dropped right there. One, you don't want to be on the back foot from the start of the morning. And I think, as you said, self-awareness, understanding yourself. However, I feel for most people, this rule should apply to, like you said, you don't just want to be a fixer, because you can very quickly get caught up in fixing all day. And I guess this is my second to last question, which is, so we come to 11 a.m. and we know you're impatient, and there's a problem that still hasn't been fixed. At 11 a.m., does Grace say, nope, I'm done? Or do you allow some exceptions?
I allow an exception. And based on the fact that we are human beings have different things that are happening at any given time. I don't know what could have triggered something. And if maybe I asked for it on Friday and today's Tuesday, and it been done by 11, or I was expecting it on Monday, and when I checked on Monday, you said that it would be ready at this particular point, I will now follow up on Tuesday, and I'll be like, I need an update on what is going on. Do you need more help in this? I need to understand what's going on. Why isn't this task particularly being done? Especially if someone who's reporting to me gave me a timeline. Like if you gave me a timeline, then I expect that you stick to it. Because I'm not going to come and bulldoze my way or stand over your neck, hover over your neck, like, have you done it now? Have you done it now? Constantly on Slack. You just hear Slack notification. Have you done it now? No, no, no. I don't want to be that person because I don't want to be led by that person. But if we stick to a time, then tell me a time that works. Or I usually empower my team to manage upwards, such that if I gave you a task and I said that maybe I need it by Monday, but you're like, I can't achieve it by Monday. Can I give it to you instead on Wednesday? I'm cool with that because that shows me that you're able to manage your calendar, you're able to manage the task on your plate, or you
Yeah.
tell me that, in fact, right now I still have too much on my plate. Can I do it at this? How soon do you need it? What's the urgency around it? And if it's not that urgent, then we can push it. So I like to give that room to allow for the human element to also come into play because anything could have happened. Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Mm,
Again, I'm taking
mm.
mental notes throughout this, Grace. I feel almost guilty that this is a mentoring session between you and I. But hey, there's
Yeah.
people listening, and I know they're all getting mentoring sessions. And that's where I always want to give an opportunity to guests like yourself, Grace, that have given so much value. What's one last thing you want everyone to remember? Whether that's a way to connect with you, to support what you're
Mhm,
building, or another
mhm.
piece of advice.
Um, One, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, so you can get my name. My name, just search my name on LinkedIn if you have any questions. You'd like to have chats on fintech, on tech, on women empowerment in business. I'm happy to have those discussions. And then just a point of advice, that's something that my mom used to tell me, was not to sweat the small stuff. Don't let small things which are not really part of the bigger picture affect your day and influence how it is that you show up for yourself, whether it's in your work, whether it's in your own entrepreneurship gig, even as you build your own vision. Yeah, and that's it for me.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And that's sweating the small
Mm,
stuff. I've had something as well. Don't insure the small stuff.
exactly.
So many people insure a small relative a mobile phone, right? And they'll spend hundreds a
Mm,
month to insure arguably a
mm,
device that you could have bought again at the end of the year. So
yeah.
keep that perspective, as Mama Grace would have said, don't sweat the
Mm,
small stuff. So Grace, thank you for your
yeah.
time. That's one thing you can't get back. And I hope to have you on the show
Mm.
again soon.
Thanks for having me. Really excited that I was able to join.